am super excited to tell you about the how and why of foreign language. So I'm going to be super quick. I love quick things, short lessons, short seminars. My name's Suzanne Gose. I have 5 kids. We live on a hobby farm. I'm the creator of Flip Flop Spanish and Spanish Geniuses. I was a public school teacher beforehand, before babies, and that's why I'm a homeschooler. I do have one other seminar on here, and I also get to be a sponsor of the summit, so it's awesome. Okay, how and why. We're going to start with why. Otherwise, you don't need to do it, right? Why should we add foreign language to your homeschool? So there's 7 good reasons. The first one is obviously reach and influence. When you learn a second language, the earlier you do it, the better off you're going to be. It's easier to do all these things, but then when you become fluent or at least conversational, you're able to reach more people, influence more people, all kinds of reasons for that. So that's the very basic one. Why? Well, I can understand more people and I can communicate with more people. Spanish specifically is the second most spoken language in the nation and has 23 different countries that has it as its main language. It's spoken in even more, almost 30 countries, but the main language is in 23. So it's a good one to choose if you're looking for which language to choose. Empathy and helping. When you learn a second language, you understand that, oh, there are other people that don't speak English. That means when I speak to somebody who has an accent, a foreign accent, not like a Texas accent, they have learned this language, and that gives you that empathy because you're working hard at it and you go, whoa, this is not as easy as I thought it would be, or if it is easy, that's great, but you're impressed. That person knows a whole other language. And then helping, it's so great because you're like, oh, I can help. So if you hear somebody speaking Spanish, your ears perk up and you have the bravery, the courage to go ahead and go help them. Memory skills. I don't know if you know this, but a lot of times back when I was first teaching homeschoolers, I had some moms that would say, my boy is not doing Spanish this year because he has memory issues. That's why he should do Spanish. When you learn a second language, it opens up new synapses, improves your memory, improves your wit. So whenever we have trouble in an area, we don't skirt around it, do we? We push for it. And frankly, once you learn a second language, if I just learn one word even, here's el buzón. El buzón. Now you know the mailbox. El buzón. Isn't that a fun word? El buzón. Once you learn that word, that by itself improves memory in every other area. So the more words you learn, the more words you're able to learn. It becomes easier, which means everything becomes easier to memorize. It's amazing. It's like learning one sport and then you're better at other sports. Same idea. Wit and interpersonal skills. It improves your processing time. So not only are you able to process it deeper, but also more quickly. So if you hear something and you have a auditory processing disorder, it takes a while to process, learn a second language. It opens up synapses and roads and pathways in your brain that nothing else does. And interpersonal skills, same thing. It helps your ability to understand what that person's feeling, saying, thinking based on their tone, facial expressions, body language, all that stuff improves because you're using new synapses to do something new that your brain doesn't use any other way. Like it just stays all dead and shriveled and sad. But when you learn a second language, it wakes it up and then you're able to do all these things because of it. It's like the basics, the fundamentals of basketball. I learned to dribble so that I can run and dribble and shoot. I learned to pass so I can, during the game, I can pass across the court, learn, dribble, all this stuff, fundamentals. So a second language is like learning the fundamentals of any other sport or activity. Job opportunities. Did you know? Obviously, if there's a person sitting next to me, we have the same skills. We are both good and proficient at computers and answering phones and interpersonal, and we're both really good at all these things, but I know a whole second language. I'm going to get the job. Not only am I going to get the job and keep the job during layoffs, but I'm also going to get paid more, almost usually around $10,000 to $15,000 per year in almost any industry. So it opens up and keeps job opportunities. Processing speeds, I guess I skipped ahead. Processing speeds are improved. And brain health. So not only are we getting our memory skills better, our empathy, those are all brain health things too, but we're overcoming everything. So fine motor skills, gross motor skills, everything that starts up here and goes through our body is improved because we're waking up a new part of the brain that can't be woken up in another way. And if you have an older person in your life, have them sit and do your see it and say it flashcards with you, because it staves off dementia and Alzheimer's by a decade or more. So if you have a bilingual patient getting diagnosed with Alzheimer's and a monolingual patient getting diagnosed with Alzheimer's, 72 years old is the average age for diagnosis for Alzheimer's with people that know one language. 83 is the average age for Alzheimer patients that have two languages. Okay, I think I got your attention. So how? You're like, thanks, Suzanne. Gracias. Now what? I've got a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 14-year-old, whatever it is. You have like all this stuff going on. You're like, great, we just got a handle on math. Fantastic. I finally got my Charlotte Mason literature book choices down. And now you're telling me I've got to throw in a language? Yeah, but it's not hard. So look, these are some cute kids here locally. I love them. And there's 5 of them, but only 4 wanted to be in the pictures today. And they're doing their Spanish. That's the see it and say it level 2. So the yellow background is past tense that they're learning. So they're learning I ate and I said or I told, and they're putting their conjunctions. And so they're all working together, putting together sentences in a very physical way. This takes about 15 minutes a day. The cards are numbered on the back, and so they just lay them out and push play on the audio. So they're listening to the audio, and then they have their skinny books there that helps them to write it down if they want. So that's their personal learning dictionary, which is a Charlotte Mason method as well, adding new words that they want to put. They don't have to, but words they want to put in their personal learning dictionary. So 15 minutes, okay? So here's some ways. How do you do it? You don't have to use see it and say it. I encourage you to use anything. So here's an older photo you can see of a family when they're using the calendar. They could just handle one word a day. They didn't want to do the whole curriculum. They weren't ready to set it out and get it out on the table and spend, 15 minutes doing it at lunchtime. It wasn't part of their juncture at that time. They couldn't do it. They just didn't have the time, too many other things going on. So they did a calendar. So that's number 1. What is your input? What curriculum are you going to choose? What are you going to do? I recommend at any age before puberty, please don't do screens. Please don't let it be a software program or an app. If you're using Duolingo, I know it's free. It does have an agenda. Please check out the characters. They have a very specific agenda to promote societal appropriateness that most of us don't find appropriate. So Duolingo, not only is it bad for your brain health because it's on a screen, but also it's got an agenda. So just check into that. So your source of input, I would recommend anything audio, anything that's hard, that you can touch, any books. Movies would be okay, just not an app or software. They're reacting and responding to an app. Like supplemental, that's fine, but not as your main source of input. That's my recommendation. So find what curriculum. Choose one, whichever one you want to choose. I have see it and say it. We have flip-flop French and flip-flop German coming out, but flip-flop Spanish is the most common one, of course. Decide how you're going to study and practice. How? So this family is looking at the words, getting their input, listening to the audio. That calendar comes with an audio as well. And then they write it down, or they label it up on the picture and color it. How are you going to study? And then finally, decide when. Put it on the calendar and do it. So if you're doing see it and say it, you'll be using flashcards. That's your input and the audio. How are you going to study? Well, I'm going to do this audio thing. And then I'm going to have my older kids write it down. I'm going to have my younger kids just touch and listen. That's it. And I'll quiz them at the end of the week with the 6 cards. And then you put it on the calendar. See it and say it. I recommend 3 times a week. That's it. Choose your curriculum. Decide how. Are you going to do it on the trampoline, or, what are you going to have them do actually? Just listen, write, read. What are you doing here? And then put it on the calendar, just like we do with anything else. Okay, here's the obstacles. So there's 3 major obstacles. The first one is the wrong input. You chose something, you spent a lot of money on it. Maybe you did Rosetta Stone. You're like, and I've been teaching for 24 years? No, longer than that, because I've been married 25 years. goodness, so 26, no, it doesn't matter. Sorry. Anyhow, I've been teaching for a long time, and people have been using Rosetta Stone that whole time. And so far, I have 0 people, 0, that have told me that that was a good choice for them. So, if you have Rosetta Stone, you're not alone if you don't like it. Choose a new input. Another reason people don't move forward, or they're having some problems actually progressing and learning how to put together sentences, they're using the wrong method. So, or the wrong motivation. Like, they're just trying to check it off. It's just something they're doing, so they're not actually motivated to learn. But they're, this poor kid, he's on a computer and he's tired of being on the computer. Or maybe, you're having your child write down the words, or just say the words, or just listen. Whatever it is, you probably need to add one other learning style to whatever it is that you're using. If you have the wrong input, you might have to change that. But typically, you have an input and you can change it. You can add to it. If you just buy a set of flashcards at the grocery store has them too, but these are nice because they're all colored. And so you get these, they're on Amazon, flashcards, assorted flashcards. They even come with like little metal rings so you can sort them out. I like them. So you don't have to choose a new curriculum. Just add to what you have. And then sometimes you're just doing it the wrong time of day. So you're doing it early in the morning or late at night or whatever it is. Or you're maybe it's not time because you're in a hard season. Usually it's always the right time as far as season, but choose when to do it. If you're rushing through or to get to math, or you just had math, which is kind of hard for your kids, choose the right input, choose the right method, and choose the right time. The cool thing about being homeschoolers is we can change all of these easily. If you have your kid in a class and they're not doing it well, maybe don't do that class anymore. Hey, they could try out Spanish Geniuses. Come and try me. See how it goes. You get a week free trial. Okay, here are the benefits. Oh, I didn't push these to make them go. Here they all are at once. Whenever you get it right, your brain health improves. That's huge. It's fun. It adds fun to your day. Look at those happy smiles. It adds gross motor skills, fine motor skills, interpersonal communication, so many things. Number 3, you get to speak a new language. That's crazy. Like, you could actually put together thoughts in a second language. It's really freeing. It's really exciting. It's something that's different than any other subject. And then a little kind of bonus is you'll notice that all of your kids' grammar in English will improve because of comparison, just automatically. So that's it. That is the how and why of adding foreign language to your school day. I highly recommend it, of course. We've been doing Spanish since the kids were born. I was not allowed to teach them the natural way, like just speak to them in Spanish and immerse them, because I did. But when my firstborn was speaking Spanish at home, I went to the grocery store, I went wherever, and Daddy was at home with him. He didn't know when he was speaking Spanish, like my child didn't. And Daddy would say, English, buddy. And poor little Mitch, he didn't know he just wanted some milk. And you're right, my hubby could have learned, but he didn't. He was busy supporting us, working, traveling, doing all the things to make it where I could stay home. And so he said, I can't handle it, man. Can you please just treat it like a subject? And so I had to delay, stop speaking to him in Spanish, and teach it like a subject. And so my kids have not been immersed in Spanish. We taught it the way Charlotte Mason did. I didn't know about Charlotte Mason back then. I just did it her way because she's also right and has good ideas. And so we used flashcards, we used stories, we used the series method, and I taught all my classes. And so my kids became fluent because of the same way your kids are going to learn. So please don't feel like, oh, well, she can do it because she's fluent already. Sure, that's a leg up, but you can become fluent too. All you have to do is choose what kind of input, what curriculum fits you best, what's your learning styles, how are you going to do it? Like, what are you going to actually do? Are you going to push play? Are you going to write it? And then when? Follow through. All right, I hope that helps you.